Welcome, one and all, to another edition of Code Remix Weekly. I'm your host, Sam, and this is our other host, Tim. How you doing this week, Tim?
Just fine, just fine. Yeah, and I say just fine, but my neck kind of hurts. Like I went
Is it
wakeboarding.
a climbing? Oh no.
Yeah, no, the wakeboarding. As in, you need to find different ways to hurt yourself.
A whole variety of injuries. You got to evenly distribute the injuries across the body so that you can heal uniformly. If you
No,
injure the same area over and over, that's when you get into problems. So
no,
wakeboarding, you said.
it's
So
there's
this is
a
like off the
nice.
back of a boat, holding onto a line while the boat and you're standing on a board or something, or do you mean
Uh,
just like you in the surf, like riding the waves? Like what are we talking here?
There's a nice static line near my home where there's
Okay.
a big lake, and they have a static line going around at like 30 kilometers an hour, which is, I don't know, 20 miles an hour, I think,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
That's pretty fast. So you just like grab on and just like get pulled
Yeah,
around the perimeter of
yeah.
this lake.
Yeah, there's no easy way to start because the line is already going that speed. So it's like a three, two,
Yeah.
one, and now you're also going
Do you
30
do you wear
kilometers an hour.
gloves or something? Like when I've gone,
Uh,
it's not exactly the same, but when I've gone skiing, there have been a couple places where there's like rope tows to like get up like a small
yeah.
a small hill, and you're usually wearing gloves because it's cold. So, but I definitely noticed like grabbing onto the rope, like getting like slight friction burns on the gloves. Where I've been like, wow, I'm really glad that wasn't my bare hands. So a 30
Uh,
kilometer an hour rope, like how do you grab it in a way that your palms are okay with it?
I think the trick is not to do it for more than an hour and a half, and then you can do it without gloves still. So yeah,
Okay,
so
okay.
that wasn't the issue. That no, the pain started when I started to try to do the ramp, and you can see me
Mm.
unceremoniously try to take it and then flip over. And, I don't know.
Well, that sounds really fun. I mean, it's not the crashing part, but the riding the
Uh,
line around the lake. That sounds really fun.
it was pretty good. Yeah, it's like
How far you were able to take it before the crash? Like this wasn't like the very first thing you did, right? You got to enjoy it
no, no,
some,
no.
right?
I enjoyed it. Like we did an hour and a half. It was really at the edge of sunset, so you got the perfect like last bit of sun over the lake. There was some cloud cover
Nice.
and a big beautiful rainbow, and then I don't know. It was good fun.
All right, so it's good fun, and then you were like, I can handle that ramp. Like, had you gone around the lake
Yeah,
a couple times, and then you're like, all right, I'm
yeah,
hitting
yeah.
the I'm hitting the ramp this time, and eyeing it, I've been checking it out, I've calculated my approach, and you're ready, and then it turns out not so much. So wait, so
Yeah.
so so
Well,
so the line goes next to the ramp, and you just like let go and
yeah,
use your
yeah.
accumulated momentum to
No,
go
no,
to
no.
fly up and
So
over.
the idea is that you hold on to the line still
Uh-huh.
as you go over the ramp, and then you land it, and you continue going. Of course.
Oh,
Earlier years, my problem was I would let go of the line when I got on the ramp.
so you wouldn't have
Not so
enough
much the
momentum;
issue
it would just
anymore.
kind of
Yeah.
topple.
Now the problem is landing it. You can, I don't know. This well, small progress is being made. Maybe it's someday I'll
So,
find it.
so you're undeterred. Your neck injury is not. You're gonna try again next time. Yeah.
Yeah, not next week, but next time. So
Well, I
yeah,
look I look
no.
forward to I look forward to hearing that you have eventually nailed the jump, and hopefully that statement is not foreshadowing for you appearing on a future Code Remix Weekly episode with the neck brace.
I can share the video in the team channel that we have, and
Oh,
then
that
you
sounds
can
fun.
see
Yeah, please
how
do.
poorly I do.
Does this include like I imagine it's friends of yours recording and when you beef it, when you mess up and you hit the water wrong, is there laughter from your friends or oh no, we hope he's okay? Like just prepare me for this. How bad does it look?
No, this is actually good. It's just like a 5 second video, so there's
Uh-huh.
no real discussion on the how badly the fall was.
Hmm.
I have witnessed in the past people fall badly, and then you just hear these guttural screams, and I'm
Yeah,
glad
those
not to
oh
have that one.
no's. This reminds me
But
of
yeah,
a subreddit I've occasionally gone on called "Don't Help, Just Film" of people who were just recording accidents, and it's like
yeah,
you're right there. You could have helped that person, but nope,
yeah.
they don't help. They just film.
Yeah, you see a toddler walking to the top of the stairs and just keep filming. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
they
just like
gotta
stop
learn.
it, stop the kid. All right, well that's so in this case your friend stopped filming because they were ready to render aid, or that just they just cut the clip there because that was the logical endpoint.
Just a logical point. Like, as in,
Okay.
you can watch me swim back to shore, but there's just no fun in that. So,
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, if you were able to swim back to shore and without a lifeguard intervention or anything like that, then he couldn't have been that hurt. So that's all right.
yeah.
So
Was,
with the neck injuries, is it like turning the head hurts, or hopefully not just like sitting at a computer desk? That's
no,
okay.
it's the limited movement that you get. Nothing new. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
going
Well,
climbing again next week, so I'll find a new way to hurt myself.
yeah. We'll definitely find a new way. Don't fall and land on the neck. That could be bad. Uh, yeah. All right. Well, this has been an excellent sub segment of our show. Tim's recent extreme sports injuries. What do we have for announcements for the people this week?
Just one announcement, really. That's why we've been put out a new blog. We are scheduled to do a new release, but I didn't want to push one out briefly today. So we have this one blog, which is just a write-up of a popular episode we did earlier, just explaining the myths of OpenRewrite and Moderne. And if you want to read over some of that, then it's now available in blog form.
Mhm, mhm. Kevin's pointing out that we should make like a little logo. We could do an official segment, like have like a little intro screen of someone crashing and burning, and and
I
make it
can
a regular thing. How your latest extreme sport went.
I can definitely provide some footage there. Yeah, there's no end to how many scars and scabs I've done up over the last couple of years. So,
That would be fun. We should do that.
oh, all good, all good.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt the blog post. I just saw Tim's or Kevin's comment.
Yeah. No, so this is we covered more even than we went over on the episode. So if you're curious to hear what else we had prepped up in terms of myths that are busted in the way that you can use OpenRewrite Emitter, then definitely have a look at that one.
Oh yeah, this is based on a past episode we did.
Yep. And I'll share the link just now as well. So moderne.ai/blog, and it should be the newest one.
Right on,
So yeah.
right on.
So that's it in terms of new updates for the past week. And then with that, we get to, I think, the topic for today, which is a nice comparison of how we're working with recipe development these days.
Yeah.
Where we've gone over a few iterations of what we think would be nice to show you here. Well, we landed on just show maybe a side-by-side comparison to how I would approach picking up an issue from our backlog using Claude, and how Sam, you in your case, would be doing so without those toolings helping you out. And maybe comparing the relative experiences and productivity there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. So then, with that, of course, there's some getting started installing the installation instructions that you need if you want to follow along at home. First off, you would need Claude, which has a helpful getting started guide to do the same here. And I'll share the link again. So it's just docs.entropic.com. And of course, Claude is a very helpful CLI command that you can also integrate into your IDE and different ways. And then from there, we have access at Moderne to the Claude Pro Max 20x account. And that gives you access to the Opus model, which you want to be using here as well. And then from there, we're off to the races. So get that installed, grab your credit card if you have to. And then from there, you should be able to follow along.
Yeah, and they've recently added support for Windows. I know I had tried like a month or two ago, being one of our token Windows developers, and and the Claude Code install was like, you got to use WSL, and I'm like, I don't have WSL set up at the moment. I have in the past, and I don't want to. Wasn't super excited about setting up a whole new development environment just to be able to use it. But just as I was thinking I would have to do that, I tried again, and they had added native Windows support. So if you had tried in the past and run into that, worry no more. The setup was very
Yeah.
easy.
And I think they even came out with a native binary as of like last couple of days. I think there's a beta that you can be using, and then that works as well. So then, with that, let's set the stage a bit. Like what we're going to work through is just one of the open source issues that was reported to us, or one or two. We're going to try to see whatever fits in this episode, and if it works really well, we're going to be done early, and we'll see what else is there.
Yeah.
And the first I want to take a look at, such that Sam can get started as well, is one that was reported on us on Rewrite Static Analysis. So I'll share it on the screen here as well. And it's a recipe we have, which starting with newer Java versions, Java 21 and up, it's no longer legal to have a second semicolon at the end of an import. Now you actually have to remove that one, and we already have a recipe that removes it elsewhere, but it doesn't work on imports yet. So this was a valid issue, and we're now going to see how we can tackle this using the newer tools available to us to do exactly this. So Sam, if you want to get started, then of course check out Rewrite Static Analysis.
Yep. I'm getting started doing it manually. Tim, you'll demonstrate, using Claude for this, and then we can compare what I came up with and what Claude comes up with in a few minutes.
Absolutely. So let's hope that the screen share gods are with me today.
Have you been having trouble screen sharing in general, or just to Zoom?
Especially in Zoom, but others as well. So what I've done is I've switched to some manually installed Linux NVIDIA driver, which of course is always the source of your issues. And for now, it's working again, but I'm being cautious. So then on my end, I'm going to try to leave most of the work to Claude. I'm not going to do too much myself. And with that, we're going to use the integration that I have for Claude. So what I've done previously is had Claude install itself into my IDE. And there's a shortcut that I can pull up, which is Control Escape on my machine. And that gives me a prompt to do things with Claude. And the very easiest thing you can do is just to ask it to fix and then the URL. This has worked for me in about half a dozen cases already. But today we're going to do slightly more structure to it, just because we want to observe a bit what it does and start afresh. So with that, I'm going to ask it to first create a new branch and write the test that was provided in the issue. And then we're going to make a plan on how to approach the issue and execute it that way. We do have some colleagues who swear by using Claude mostly with text dictation, which are very helpful if you have OpenAI's Whisper installed. And then you can just voice out whatever you want to happen in these cases. I, of course, being on Linux, haven't yet found a way to get that working. So I'll be typing awkwardly throughout, and you'll be able to read along.
Yeah, so trying this manually, I've already kind of run into what I think may be a challenge for either a regular human recipe author or Claude fixing this issue, in that the prescribed test case, and I'll just share my screen and show you, may require a parser change as well, which I don't think we were banking on for this. So right now, the provided test case, this semicolon is getting parsed just not as an LST element proper, but as part of the white space in the prefix of interface here, which is not ideal. We would always rather have white space should only contain white space, which is the nature of this check. So to fix this, we might have to actually change something in the parser, which is not in this repository at all. So, but then again, does our current grammar for import doesn't, like, if I go look at J, and go
Hmm.
look at compilation unit, you know, the things kind of start off with the compilation unit has a prefix, and then we get down to, wait, where's the list of imports? Types, prefix, markers, source path. Oh, here we go. Package declaration, and then, okay, so the imports are a list of write padded. Then we have a list of classes. And so,
Yep.
yeah, we don't necessarily have a convenient way. Like in other
Hmm.
circumstances, like you can have an empty statement that is just
Yep.
like a trailing semicolon, but there's kind of no way to fit, at least without violating all of the nullability constraints in here, to make like a totally empty import.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I don't know. We
Yes.
possibly we can just, is that test one we can disable? Is that a
So
configurable check?
I have some prior knowledge here. So we have a recipe already that expects that semicolon to be available in the whitespace.
Uh-huh.
And we've discussed this on with an open source contributor of ours. I only know like the 5 letters he uses on GitHub. I don't know his actual name, but he's been
Mm-hmm.
very helpful lately in helping to work out what would be needed in cases like this one. But the what we landed on is that we don't actually want to change the parser in this case, because if we change the
It
parser
would
to
make the LST
accommodate,
representation worse.
yes,
If we're
very
like,
much.
yeah, okay, there can be an empty import, or there can be statements of some other kind here, then yeah,
And
that would
then
make things uglier.
and it would be in violation of the Java specification. It's just that up to now, the JDK parsers had tolerated those semicolons. So while we could, and what they've been doing in versions 21 and above is that it's no longer tolerated. So now, of course, you need to update your code, but it doesn't make sense for us then to change our parsers to accommodate those illegal semicolons, because going forward, they would never happen because just they're not
It
legal.
wouldn't
So
compile, yeah.
my suggestion then has been to instead look to take that white space that we find on imports. Like on the next one, there'll be an extra white space containing a semicolon, and just remove it from there. I think that is the most straightforward way to handle this. And that's also what the recipe currently does for a number of other cases. So at the end of a try with resources, after the last enum value, if no field or method is defined, or when there's no statement between two semicolons. So this recipe already has a couple of tests that each handle that particular case. So in this case, you can see it here. We're already able to remove those cases, and now we just want to extend this to cover imports as well. So that's exactly what we're after. We're not going to change the parser or how things are modeled. Instead, we're going to expand the recipe to cover these cases. Do you
Yeah,
agree with that approach?
I do. It's just, how do we, like right now, the test, we've got this white space validation that runs automatically. Like we don't even get to the point of like running the recipe. Or wait, does this happen after?
So the one thing I haven't checked is if on the type validation we're able to ignore that white space validation error.
I don't think I don't think we are. But let me double check. Yeah, I just wonder if we're going to be
Mm-hmm.
able to actually fix this one here and now. Yeah, because I think that even before we like run the recipe, the test framework asserts like, hey,
There's
this
no illegal white space in the parser. Yeah.
yeah. Although I wonder, we might be able to like hack around it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's always some way to hack around it, but
So just for me
this
to
isn't
catch
one
up,
that.
yeah?
Oh, what's that? Go ahead. Sorry.
Just to catch up. So what Claude has done so far is exactly what we asked, is to suggesting a code change to our tests which is just changing that test class that we already have to have that additional test. And then we can tell it to add it here, and then make the code change, and then I can run it, and then I can demo the exact issue that you're discussing. So I'm telling it to make that code change, then we're going to jump to the test, then we're going to run it, and then we're going to see indeed the exact issue that you've brought up. So in this case, it's indicated that there is a bug in the parser, which we're not going to address. But there's a non-whitespace character between the import and the interface and the import. So this is exactly what we expected. And now the question is, can we ignore that issue? Let's find out.
I don't think we can, but we could just switch to having Claude add that, because we could say, hey, we could open up the main rewrite repository and say, hey, add a type validation option for skipping the white space check, and then check that option here in rewrite test. Like we could make this. I mean, it's one of those things where we're like, if this is a problem, you would never want to. Like this is kind of an edge case, right? Because almost always this would be like a parser bug, not a recipe issue. So if you ran into this, well, you got to go fix the parser, send us a bug report. But if we're, I think we've agreed keeping the parser the way it is for the source file, maybe this is the sort of edge case that it makes sense to add an opt out for this. So do we just want to switch tracks and have have Claude try to update our test framework for that in the main rewrite repository?
Could do. So the problem is on this exact line. Let me try to download the sources, where it is indeed failing because that white space is validated. And we want to add an option to ignore that white space validation. So with that, let's stop sharing this screen.
And hopefully you'll be able to share a different screen.
At least once. Still here, so that's good. So now we have the OpenRewrite Rewrite project open, and we want to switch the introduce and rewrite test the ability to ignore white space issues. So that is roughly what we're going to do. We're going to ask Claude to add an option to type validation. White space issues as signaled on line, and then say this one.
Tim, do you have like a mechanical keyboard? Is it your keyboard particularly noisy?
I've been told it is, yes. I have noise cancelling myself, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, maybe you just need to put I don't know, put a blanket over your keyboard and like type underneath that or something. It's like your keyboard is sometimes louder than you are.
I'll try. And signal on. So I think the prompt is clear. So we want to add that option to type validation. It's type validation is a class that we started originally to ignore type validation issues. It's since grown to ignore a lot more. So, but we haven't yet built up the courage to rename it, even though it would.
It's one of those things where like it is changing the name worth it, even with the recipe. It's just like this is just 100%, a nuisance to people to go and change this.
Yeah. So as you'll find, it is very helpful that it does tell you exactly what it's working through, what it's learned already, which tools it's been using, and then from there gives you inspiration. We're going to see the code changes it's likely going to suggest pretty soon. And this is the point where you usually go grab a bit of coffee.
Well, how are you doing on coffee today? Are you sufficiently caffeinated? I mean, it's kind of late in the evening for you. Is that going to pose a problem for you for sleeping?
My main problem is that tomorrow, the one day of the week, I do have to get up at 9. So I shouldn't be drinking any too much, but yeah, you just want to see things work.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's figured out that in the type validation class, it's added a builder default method for whitespace, which is exactly what we wanted to do actually. It's also expanded in this case the next class where it is constructed, and then it's going to change rewrite test Java. So far, I would say this is looking pretty good.
So far, so good. Now, on my side, I've made a similar change.
So the way I keep up my productivity is not to wait for any one Claude run to actually finish, but have a couple different ones run in parallel on different projects, or even the same different clones of the same project. And that way you can have multiple things going at once. The bottleneck quite quickly then becomes you in reviewing that whatever it produces is any good at all. But I'd say for now it looks quite decent. I'm curious to hear if on your side you're looking at something similar, maybe on a dark screen instead of a light screen.
Yeah, that's the main difference so far is the screen color.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just a little bit ahead of Claude on this one, but other than that, quite similar.
but
Yep.
maybe the giveaway that it's using Claude is, does your solution have any comments?
Hey man, hey, that feels a little pointed, and I will have you know that like the like many of the comments in the Open Rewrite code base are there because I put them there. You know,
Okay.
when I first joined this project, I'm not saying Jonathan never put any comments in, but they were sparse. You know, so you can sometimes tell the difference between a method I added to Open Rewrite and a method maybe others have added, because mine typically do have, I would say, pretty explanatory comments.
All good, all good. And then maybe the next one is there a space before the false here at the end?
Yeah, that's a good question. Did I put a space at the end there? It looks like yes, I did put a space there. Hey, yeah,
I'm impressed.
I was notorious for not having a space with you, at least, for not having a space after if statements, but not necessarily for for missing spaces other places. I'm not opposed to white space in general.
So yeah, to me this looks good. I don't quite feel like running all the tests because I know this type of change is just very unlikely to have any cascading effects. But maybe like, does your solution look any different?
So my solution looks similar, although I've gone ahead and started adding a test case for this, because we do have a rewrite test, um, which just makes sure that the rewrite testing framework does what it says it does. So the main difference between what we have is, well,
Should we show
yeah,
your screen momentarily?
sure, we'll share my screen. Uh, So the main difference is so far is I'd called this something different. I called it allow non-white space in white space, trying to be a little bit more descriptive in the name, the parameter. Although I hadn't filled in a comment on what that means yet, unlike Claude, but you could see I intended to do so. Coming at me with this no
Oh.
commenting slander, Tim. You're slandering me with by implication anyway. Uh, but I put the if statement in the same spot, and the main difference was, well, I'm going to stick this exact thing into rewrite test, but to do that, to use this exact case, because I don't have another example off the top of my head of where a parser would do this in a way that isn't a bug. So this is kind of quite specific. Was to add this. So I will be curious perhaps to see if, okay, there we go, that passes. So yeah, we came up with the same solution, but I added a test for it. So maybe I'll just fill in this comment and go ahead and commit this. But if you want to, you could go ahead and do like a publish to Maven local on your local repository, since we've agreed that this is the solution is the same. So you could go do a publish to Maven local. Or actually, why don't we agree on the name for this parameter? And do you feel that like allow non white space and white space is good?
I think it's decent, yeah.
Decent. Okay. All right. Not giving me too much credit. What would be a really good name for this, Tim? If that's just decent, what's a really good name?
I think we can go for this one. So allow non-white space in or white space. No capitals on the S there.
No capital on what now?
On the S. Yeah, that should be good.
Let's see. In rare cases, it is almost always a parser bug. If a non-white space character shows up in the white space, non-white space character shows up in the white space of an LST element, non-white space, non-comment characters show up in the white space. In rare cases, this may be some edge cases with parsers. This may be allowed. If you find yourself using this setting in a normal recipe test, consider reporting a bug on the parser instead, as if that parser bug were to be fixed, it would change the behavior of your recipe.
That seems decent.
Of recipes that expected this. Yeah, okay, cool. And I mean, there really shouldn't be any other knock-on effects to this, so I'll go ahead and push that. Yeah, I didn't get anything else in. Allow, add an opt-out for white space validation and recipe tests. All right, so with the change I made just now, or the basically identical change that you made just now with Claude, we could, what are you warning me about? Probably nothing. Oh, unused import statement, unnecessary semicolon. I mean, that you're right, but that is indeed the point. So we'll suppress that error. And these other errors are things that I haven't messed with. Delegate source file for diff, unused. This is probably used somewhere in another. Am I missing anything from here? No.
I mean, well, on my side, doing that publish to Maven local to make it available and rewrite static analysis, to then pick it up there, allow it in the test, and then
yeah. Well, so we could switch back to showing your screen as we continue to prompt Claude through fixing this issue. Now that it has any hope at all of being able to do so successfully.
Okay, then almost done with the publish to Maven local, but we can already share my screen. And not that one. It is that one. And as we're waiting for that method to become available, let's do a quick refresh. Refresh with all dependencies. This takes a short while. Okay, so the method is available. Now what is it complaining about? Yeah. I need to add, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you can use the builder rather than all. If that, I think all is a finished one. Although, is it immutable? No, it's not immutable, so you could still change it like that.
This is a silly one. And then build, of course. It is the type that I would expect to go in there. Let's gives. Let's see if it's done anything odd. So it's added the import, it's added the method. I don't see a difference. It's properly borked, I think, on my end. Not sure what's going on.
Is this your IDE being confused?
Yeah. It's like it's not allowing that method to be called with the builder.
Well, it seems to actually be complaining about the recipe spec, like the type validation options method, which is a little strange. So if you just switch that to like type validation options, like type validation.none or .all, is it fine? Yeah, okay, so this is some IDE problem beyond, like I don't know, is like Claude also editing this file simultaneously or something? Like what's going on here?
It shouldn't be. No, it's,
Yeah, okay, yeah, so Claude is stopped. So I guess the question is why is your IDE so confused?
Yeah, it's not liking the publish domain and local edit as yet, which is odd, but yeah. So then, what we can do is that we can pause this one because I think it's going to be a challenge to get it going, and maybe look at a different recipe.
Well, I mean, I'm almost done fixing this issue, but this isn't really a fair like Claude versus non-Claude sort of comparison, since this isn't a Claude problem, but an IDE problem. Is it? Yeah, it's having. Can you just like do a clean rebuild of this project? Because it's complaining about other stuff in this file too, not just this one thing. You see a lot of little red error lines going on. So I'm curious, when I'm watching the video of your screen, I'm seeing like a lot of like text flashing around and like your cursor flashing around. Is that also happening to you? Is that just an artifact of the screen share?
That's the screen share.
I see. Well, I've been thinking about switching to Linux, but some of this is giving me pause, seeing the challenges that some of the challenges you're having with stuff that we have to
It's
do literally all the time in terms of sharing screens and what have you.
it's not every day that it's giving me trouble. It's just like I know,
Just some
unlucky
days.
past week. So yeah, no, in this case, it's really not wanting to work. So let me try again with like clearing out the whole local install that I did. And maybe you can switch to share your solution if you're closer. Yeah.
Sure.
So we're sharing your screen.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. So it's just yep. So all I did was add since we've decided that we're not going to change the LST format to change it to accommodate a space showing up in this kind of illegal place. Just added here same test case with the same kind of type validation option thing that Tim was trying to do.
Like, line for
Getting
line the same. It's just
it's pretty much line for line the same. So this is one that aside from the edge cases of having to add this type validation option elsewhere, and and then you having IDE problems, I would have expected Claude to finish this one pretty well. But yeah, is your I mean, the other things we were planning to do were kind of also in rewrite static analysis. So is your IDE build like? Are you? Is everything okay, Tim? Are you going to be able to continue here, or are we going to run into the same kind of problem with whatever we try to do next as well?
so I've fixed the red squiggly lines. What I've
No red squigglies is
not,
good.
yeah, I'm calling the new method, but the new method isn't doing anything at all for me. So that is
Uh,
the next curious bit of code.
what's the issue number for this one again, Tim? When do we start off on this?
669 on rewrite static analysis.
Number 669. Issue 669. With removing trailing commas from imports. Well, I think maybe I'll clean up some of these warnings.
I'm with you. On my side. When I renamed the variable, I didn't pay attention to whether it should be true or false when in OpenRewrite doing the sheet testing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
may have made a different selection from you there, and
Yeah.
screwed things up. Oh, don't actually need this visit import. I didn't end up using. Thought I was going to be visiting imports early on. Maybe I'll add a note here. Typically, it is not possible to get semicolons in the white space part of comments without parser bugs. But since trailing semicolons on import statements is not valid, Java, the LST format doesn't accommodate that. Remember how to spell accommodate. 2 M's, gotcha. It doesn't accommodate that except in white space. All right, so I guess we're counting that as my win, but kind of on a technicality. So what was our next issue that we were gonna try out, Tim? Yeah, put the screen share back to
So
you.
yeah, sure. So I now have my test running. It's not making a change I want. I'm kind of curious to see if it does the exact same solution as you have.
Oh,
So
sure. I mean, we can. Yeah. What solution did Claude come up with here?
could be reference. I'm gonna say moving semicolons or white space after imports.
Man, watching the screen share, it really looks like you're doing battle with your cursor. Like you're trying to type and your cursor's trying to delete what you're typing, and it's a constant back and forth struggle that you do somehow emerge on top of. But yeah.
It's I don't know. On my end, I can see both of them going, so it does eventually show up. It's just odd how it's rendering weirdly.
If you had any device driver issues, oh, I did forget to include a space in before the if statement. You got me, you got me, Tim. You could tell I authored this code.
Which is good. Like the moment you stop or start adding those spaces, I know you're using some automation to create your PRs.
That's not true. You've razzed me about it enough times that I often remember now that I'm supposed to put a space there. Although I still kind of disagree with that secretly, but I'm fine with having a consistent code style.
Does this code change it's doing seem familiar to you?
No, not exactly. I mean, it might work in this case. It depends. I didn't check exactly where in the LST that space was actually accruing. I suspected in the example of this particular test that it wasn't in the right padding of the import, but in the prefix of the class or the interface declaration which followed. So this might work, but what I did was I overrode visit space that just checked all spaces, even though
that works.
I mean, really, there should kind of only be the one spot that this could ever accrue to. But so yeah, does this pass the test?
Let's
or has
see.
it gotten
It does
actually running
run
the test?
So it is right. So it runs the test. It finds out that it doesn't actually work, and then it tries different approaches. And you can steer it at this point to maybe say to add over visit space, and then it should pick that up whenever it pauses briefly, and then from there make the.
Then you can always just interrupt it, kind of like mid-action, and deliver it a directive that it will begin to act upon immediately.
That's an option as well. So if we do escape twice, I think you can indeed give it those instructions. So let's see if that works. So meanwhile, if you want to get started, we can have a look at a secondary recipe that we wanted to author.
And that which one was that?
This one. So I've put it in the chat. I'll supposed to share it here for folks interested. So this is recipe to do a small bit of cleanup on code, where if you have a very simple if statement and it does two assignments or two returns, we kind of wanted to turn that into a ternary. And of course, there's lots of edge cases not described within the particular issue, but it'll be fun to discover as we go through. So this is not so much fixing an issue, fixing a bug, as it is authoring a completely new recipe, including tests and everything.
All right. Well, I suppose I will go ahead and get started on that one. So I guess what I'm really going to be looking for is a sequence of a declaration, of a variable declaration, probably without an assignment statement on the right-hand side, followed immediately by an if statement where the only contents of that if statements are assignment to that variable. Well, that said, we've already spent a lot of time on this. I thought we would get further, but we weren't expecting to have to make a change to the test framework in order to deal with this edge case. So I guess we'll just see how far we get on this one. I guess I'll just call this trivial ternary, or trivial if to ternary. How's Claude doing? Did it end up with the
It's
same kind of visit space thing that I had?
no, I thought it did briefly, and then now it's removing it again, and instead doing something entirely different. So
It looks like it got close, but it doesn't actually.
huh,
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's trying to make sure this is limited to only imports in a way that I judged was unnecessary. Because any if there is any other situation where this could
no.
happen, well, we'd also want to remove that there.
Yeah, and that's exactly one of the limitations that we see. If you're not very specific with or if you're too specific with your inputs, or not specific enough in the tests that you give it, it might start to try to to match those arbitrary requirements that you didn't really intend to. So it does
Yeah, kind
help
of.
to
Yeah, an implicit requirement where you're like, no, you could
yeah.
actually be wider than that. There's no need to be that level of specific.
Uh, so just telling it to remove anywhere and see if that helps. So let's see what it's done so far. So just figure out that it's on the compilation unit, not on the import on the test that we have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's somewhat better, but it would be cleaner with the visit space. But at least we got a helpful test out of it.
Well, a test that we copied directly from the issue. Although looking at that now, I do see that I forgot to reference the issue number and an issue annotation.
It's a lot of these small things that we find help.
Yes.
But yeah. So I think in this case, let's stop Claude having doing an attempt on something that is very much a solved issue by now. As amusing as it would be to see if it figures it out in the end. So it's actually stopped any further attempts, and it now has visit space.
Hey, there we go.
Busy.
That is.
No. So
That's
the
very.
final prompt I gave it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's
If it contains.
very similar to what I did.
I think you had a replace instead of like a replace all, but
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
we're not gonna care too much about the efficiency of a regex replacement here. I think.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, a regular replacement is going to work just fine, but that regular expression also, it looks like that would work.
You only, yeah, no, it should replace it everywhere. So this is one of those cleanups that I just prefer to do by hand. I could steer it to do it differently. I think
Sure,
this would be
sure.
fine.
But it can also be a thing of as we saw occasionally, like it started veering down another path of wanting to like undo this and be like, I'll go override visit compilation unit or something instead. So I think this is a pretty realistic demonstration of
Oh,
of what it's like to use one of these agentic coding assistants for a recipe authoring task. First, you think you have something small and well specified, and like, oh, this will be perfect. It's like, oh wait, I actually need
oh,
an unrelated change, and apparently unrelated
yeah.
change somewhere else. Then you come back here, and it goes through a couple things. You're like, wait, no, not quite like that, and you eventually can get there. Yeah, I have. I
So,
mean, one thing that I found Claude really helpful for is test plans, right? Like um, sometimes when well, I'll give you an example. I've been looking at like our dependency management stuff recently, and we had some test cases in for find and fix vulnerable dependencies where I'm like, I'm not sure if we're making the right assertion here, right? Like the test asserts that this input is turned into that output, but I'm not. But I want to double check that we're actually correct to be making that assertion. So I was like, okay, well, what I'm going to do of this, like what I would do manually is copy out the build.gradle script that was supposed to result from running the recipe, and then invoke Gradle on it to be like, tell me what you think the dependencies of this are, and compare that to what we had in the test to make sure that that our assertions are accurate, that we're testing that the right thing actually happens. Uh, and so I just kind of just told Claude to do that. I'm like, hey, for each of our test cases, each of the test cases in the file, copy out the assertion to a build.gradle file in this folder,
Mm-hmm.
run Gradle dependency insight on it, and then check that, and tell me which tests have discrepancies according to that. And it did. It went and did that for each of the test cases and identified a couple with discrepancies, and I double checked it, and they were right. And I'm like, oh, that's really handy. Like, if I was going to sit
Yep.
there and like
Yeah.
write a bash script to do that, that would have been very time consuming. Like not quite worth it, right? Like the task was long enough for me to find it tedious, but not quite long enough to be worth automating. Although, I could have been like, hey, Claude, write me a bash script that will implement, or some other kind of script that will implement this test plan, and that might also have worked well. So I was quite impressed with the potential for reducing tedium in not even necessarily coding tasks, but like some of these coding adjacent tasks, some of these things you have to try out and like test and like
Yep.
see how it
Yeah.
works, so that you know what the right code to write is. So I was impressed with how well it could work for that. So it looks like, do you have it cranking away here on the? Is this still working on remove extra semicolons?
Yeah, so like you said, there's a lot of tedium involved with development, and what I also like it for is small things like create me a commit using these changes, push it up to a branch, and create a draft pull request,
Mm-hmm.
and it does all of that for me. So now that we have a solution, we
Mm-hmm.
actually have that applied for us. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
So
pretty good.
not sure if you were planning to push your solution
Oh,
in
I
this
already
case.
committed it.
It's already on main.
Yep.
Okay. Oh well, you win then. You did break main.
What's that? It didn't break main, or it did?
You did. Yeah.
I did?
Yeah. That's like
Maybe.
because
Oh,
now
that's the
if
downside of getting in a rush to win a race.
and it is exactly what we expected. It's that new method that is on
Oh,
OpenRewrite
right,
Rewrite
because the new rewrite
doesn't yet
snapshots haven't
exist.
been built yet. Okay, so my change isn't bad. It's just too fast. I'm just
Yeah.
too quick for the CI build. But of course, that CI build is slow in part because of all the tests and other things that have we and I have added to the main rewrite build over the years. So,
No,
uh, in some sense,
oh,
racing myself there.
but at least like we made our first or not first, but a nice contribution to something that was reported to us as a problem for this particular recipe. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, that's good. So,
yes, that's fun. Yeah,
looking
we
at the
get.
time, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have to get going. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have a meeting right after this. But yeah, I think we will. I think we'll revisit this subject as both of us, as we all, use these agentic assistants a little bit more often in our workflows in various ways. I think this is a subject that we will revisit in the future with some more recipe authoring or bug fixing, because there's definitely potential here to remove some of the TDM from software development. And man, removing the tedium from software development is what I am all about. It's kind of what brought me to Moderne and Open Rewrite originally. Of like, oh, we can automate
Hmm.
all this stuff I hate doing. Wonderful! Like so many people would love that, and so these AI assistants can play into that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And I
So
think this recipe that we worked on is a good example where you want to write a recipe to do this because you don't quite want to ask Claude to go through all your projects on anything you have for any stray imports and then make the code changes and push to
I mean,
main.
yeah, if you ask an assistant to actually like do a refactoring operation like this itself, well, like, I mean, it can really struggle with that. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had Claude struggle to like I had a really basic refactoring right after I said, oh, in Presto, is that following this manual test plan, there was like an add dependency test. I'm like, oh, I want to add a Java like a Java project marker to all of these tests. So if there's like 40 test cases in this file, hey Claude, go wrap each of these test cases in like a Java project add this method call to each one of these test cases, and boy, it struggled. I mean, it was like, okay, I went and added.
Yep.
It's so funny. It was like complaining about having too much work to do. It's like it churned away for a while. I was like, okay, I added the annotation, or added the method call to like the first 10, but there's like 40 left, and like I don't want to, basically. And I'm like, no, keep going, do the rest. I had to tell it, keep going, do the rest, like 3 or 4 times before it finally would. But anyway, this has been fun. I have to run to my next
Yep.
meeting, but happy Code Remix Weekly, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us. Smash that likes button, ding that notification bell, or
Uh-huh.
whatever the equivalent is if you're on YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn, or wherever you get your podcasts. Are we on
Yeah.
Spotify yet? We're not on Spotify. We should probably should we do Spotify
Uh,
too? Some people are doing Spotify these days.
just get the audio. None of the screen sharing issues that I have. It's
Yeah,
just
you can
just
do
the
video
audio.
on Spotify now.
Yeah.
That's actually an
Oh
option.
wow.
You can do you can. Some people do their videos for their podcast there. Anyway, really do have to go. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks all. See you.